Okay, welcome to this lecture number 22 now, and we are going in a different area because so far we are talking about mostly the space geometry. Now we will see the uses of the space geometry, and first we will start with normal views of oblique surfaces. So what all is there we'll see. Before that, very quickly, let's do a recapitulation of what we have done so far in space geometry. Of course, in this we understood the need of auxiliary plane and auxiliary view. Okay, whenever there is a certain surface which is not parallel to any of the principal planes, then the orthographic view of this surface, the oblique surface, on the principal planes, frontal, horizontal and the profile, will be a foreshortened view. This is why we need to identify a different plane which is parallel to this, so that the oblique plane can be projected onto this, and the projection will be auxiliary view, and this will be the normal view of this particular plane. Alright, so this is why we need it. So in this we understood how we can locate the auxiliary plane and how we can generate the auxiliary view. There are certain concepts and we have understood those concepts. Then we also understood point and true length view of a line. Given an oblique line, how to generate the point view, how to generate the true length view. Similarly, for a given oblique plane, how to generate its edge view, and also how to generate its normal view. Normal view is also called the TS view, true shape view. Then we saw different kinds of conditions. Two lines are parallel, perpendicular, the distance between them, the perpendicular from a point on a line, intersection of two lines, all those kinds of possibilities. Intersection of a line with a plane, how to locate the point of intersection. So all such possibilities we studied when we are talking about the interaction of lines and planes. Now we will be making use of all these concepts which we have learned. So what is the meaning of normal view of oblique surfaces? Just to repeat it, we know it. Of course, when we say normal view, that means the true view or the true shape. However, many times, as I just said now, when a particular plane or a surface is not parallel to any of the principal planes, its projection will be so whenever a plane is not parallel to any of the principal planes, okay, then, or rather the plane is oblique, then in that case its projection will be foreshortened on the principal planes. So here is an example. Let the pyramid which is shown over here is being sliced by an inclined surface or inclined plane, and that is how this sliced pyramid looks like. Okay, so in this there is now one surface, that's the one surface which is inclined, not parallel to the principal planes. If I show you some views of this, so we have a top view of this. So naturally this particular part or the surface which is result of the cutting of that pyramid will be projecting onto the horizontal, but as a foreshortened view, as a distorted view. So in order to generate the true view of this, we know that this line over here in the front view indicates the plane which is the inclined plane. So we need to see perpendicular to that. If you are looking at that plane perpendicular to it, that is our line of sight, we will be seeing this plane as normal view. So this we do with the help of the auxiliary plane, and then we can generate the auxiliary view or the normal view on the auxiliary plane of that inclined surface. Okay, so all this we understand. Some more things. When we say normal view, there are different names for the same thing. For example, I can say orthographic view or true orthographic view. Orthographic view can be also a foreshortened view, because when, say, this surface here, it is being projected onto the horizontal, it is an orthographic view, but it is a foreshortened view. Normal view means it is the true shape view. Also, that is called true shape view. Auxiliary view, because we are creating on an auxiliary plane, and on that auxiliary plane we are creating the normal view. So sometimes it is also called the auxiliary view. So these are just the terms which we should know. Now let us look into the basics of construction of auxiliary view. Given an object which has a certain surface or certain face inclined or oblique, how to generate the auxiliary view of that oblique surface? So what are the steps? So the steps I will tell you over here. All the steps I am summarizing over here. Now what it is? There is an oblique plane and we want to generate its true shape. Okay, and we know if I go now reverse, the true shape can be generated if I know the edge view of a plane. Alright, there is a plane. If you know the edge view of this, then perpendicular to the edge view, I take another auxiliary plane. So this is the auxiliary plane now. Okay, because I am taking it perpendicular to the auxiliary edge view over here, the given surface which was oblique will be projecting onto this auxiliary plane as the true view. Alright, so we need to generate the edge view of the given surface or given plane. How to generate the edge view? The edge view can be generated using the point view. Using the point view of a line which is known to us as the true line. Okay, what is the meaning of this? There is a plane. There is a line on this plane, and somehow we know this line. Somehow this line is known to us. Okay, this line is known to us, and this line is being projected, say, on the frontal as the true length. Now I can generate the point view of this line. Okay, point view of this line by looking from the direction here. At the same time, once I have got the point view of this line, that means I will be also able to generate the edge view of that entire plane, because this line is lying onto the plane. So we know that. So to generate point view, I need the true length of a line, or I need the projection of a line as the true length or as the true shape. So given an oblique line which can be part of the oblique plane. Alright, so if I just reverse it now, given an oblique plane, we will be locating a line onto that which is an oblique line, and for that given oblique line we will be projecting it in such a way on an auxiliary plane so that I know its true shape, or we know the normal view of the line or the true length of the line. Once we have the true length, we can easily generate the point view. Okay, because we need to see along that true length in order to generate the point view of this. And once we are generating the point view of the line which is lying onto the plane, it is easy for us to generate the edge view. Once the edge view is generated, we again on an auxiliary plane generate the true shape, and that is what we have to do. So in creating auxiliary views, these are the steps that we will be following. One more concept here. So far you are observing that mostly the distances, and what is the meaning of this? There are one hinge line here, another hinge line here. Say this is A1, A2 and A3. So there are three auxiliary planes. Now on A3 I am trying to create the auxiliary view. For this I take the projector from A2, However, I measure the distances on A1, and so far we know the distances that we measure from the hinge line. It is not necessary. What we can do, instead of measuring the distances from the hinge line, because distances are just relative things, I can also measure the distances from any other line, any other reference which is parallel to the hinge line. So for the given object, I can measure the distances from a reference line. So we will be making use of the reference lines also, and when we do some examples, then it will become more clear to us. Let us understand this by one example. And in this example, here is the object which we are taking. So for the given object, we have its horizontal, frontal and profile projections. Okay, and this all we understand. Of course, I am using the notation only DC here. I should have written here as H, because that's for the horizontal plane. And similarly here F, 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 and here P, P, P and P. Anyway, so whenever you are making a drawing, ensure that you are doing it in this manner. So further, yes, the horizontal view of the given plane is a foreshortened view. Alright. Similarly, on the profile also is a foreshortened view. While on the frontal plane, what we are getting here, we are getting the edge view of the plane, and that is why A and D points are together, C and B are together. We are getting the edge view. One more thing that you will see, once we have the edge view, say for a given plane, if I have the edge view and then I take an auxiliary plane, that's an auxiliary plane. So that's the edge view. I take an auxiliary plane, and the auxiliary plane is taken such that the edge view of the auxiliary plane is parallel to this edge view. Alright, so the edge view of the plane, the oblique plane, and edge view of the auxiliary plane, they are parallel. Then in that case, this plane which is oblique will be projected onto the auxiliary plane as the true view. So let us do that over here. So that's the edge view, and then the edge view is parallel to the auxiliary plane A1. Over here onto the screen, the plane A1 is going inside the screen. Okay, inside the screen. However, we said, okay, once we have the plane which is going inside the screen, we open it up, because from the 3D we try to bring it to the 2D, so that all the planes are in one 2D sheet. So with respect to the frontal, I open the A1 up. So the A1, this area is the area of the auxiliary plane A1. So the view of the plane which is seen as view onto A1 will be now the true shape, and we know it, how to do it. What we will do in this case, as per our definition, and let me, as per the definition, if I write names, that is A3, this is A2, and this is A1. So what we will do, from A2 we will be taking projectors, from A1 we will be measuring the distances, and then on the projectors on A3 we will apply the distances from A1 to get the true shape. So if I draw the projectors, that is how the projectors will be, and I am now applying the distances. So the distances over here, D and D, are being applied here, D1, D1, say D1. Similarly, that will give me the point A and B, and then the D2 distance over here and the D2 distance is being applied here, D2 and D2. We know it all. and by doing that we will be locating the point D and C here. So that is how the point D and C will be located, and then A, B, C, D, I could have written it as A1, D, A1, C, A1 and B, A1, because A1 is the auxiliary plane on which we are making the projection. So this is the true projection of the plane which was desired. Let us take one more example. Now this example is similar to the previous one and little different. The horizontal view and the frontal view of a certain objects are like this. Again, what we will do, we will try to see that is there any line which we know as the true length. If out of the given plane, say this plane ABCD which is oblique, at this distance is there any line which is lying onto the surface of the oblique plane, and we also know its true length projection. If it is not, we will create it on an auxiliary plane. Well, if we observe over here, you will find that BC is parallel to horizontal plane. Similarly, AD is also parallel to the horizontal plane. That means BC as well as AD, these will be known to us as the true length projections. Now once we know AD and DC, of course we could have written as H, H, H and H here. So once AH and BH, once these are known to me, you know, AS, DH or BSCS, they are known as the true length projections. Using the true length projection, I can create the S view. So let's do it. So they are true lengths. So to create the S view, I look into the direction of the true length, and we know that. So we are looking into this direction. That is how we are looking. So let us create by taking the projectors and measuring the distances. So in this case it is A3, A2 and A1 as per our definition, and by applying those distances we will be getting the S view of plane ABCD. Once we have the S view, we know how to create the true shape. We will be taking the auxiliary plane or the S view of the auxiliary plane parallel to the S view of the given plane. So we have the S view of the plane with us, and we can take the S view of the auxiliary plane like this. So if this is A2 auxiliary plane, this is the S view of it, which we also say is the hinged line. So let us draw a hinged line here. So that's the hinged line, and using the hinged line, again by measuring the distances from A1, taking the projectors from A2, we will be able to create the true view of the plane ABCD. Again over here, you know it, that the distances, this is D, it is being applied here D, and this total distance from his line to B, it is being applied here from his line to B. That is how the distances are being applied. So we get the true view of the given surface. Okay, one more, again a simpler case, and here is an object. A solid cylinder has been sliced, and we want to create the true view of this. Alright, because this will not come in any of the principal planes as the true view. So if we create the frontal view, so that's the frontal view of the solid after we slice it, and the profile view of this is looking like this, because profile means if you see it from here, it will appear the circular view. Okay, Now let us give some names in the profile view, and we have made some segments in the profile view, and 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, that is how we are giving the names to. Because why we are doing it? Because we have to project this circular profile view onto a different view. Okay, so we will be projecting one by one. That is why we are dividing into certain parts. So the projectors from the profile view, if I take it to the frontal, that is how the projectors will be. And if I transfer the points and write their names, that is how the points will be written. So corresponding to 1, the 1 is here, 2, the 2 is here. So this point is representation of 1 and 2, or rather we can say this point is the projection of 1 and 2. Alright, in order to create the true view of this, I need to now see parallel to this. So parallel to this, I need to create my, put it this way, because what we see over here, this line is as view of the given plane. Let me repeat, for the given plane, the line 1 1 and 1 2, this line is the S view, and once the S view is known to me, I can create an auxiliary plane whose S view is parallel to the S view of the given plane. So let's do that. So the given S view of the auxiliary plane is like this, which we call also the hinge line, and let me give the name. So that's the auxiliary view A, and over here this is frontal view, while here it is the profile view. Alright, let's take it further. Now we will be treating this as A3, here as A2, and here as A1. So the distances will be measured from A1, projectors are coming from A2, and the projection is being finally made on A3. Let us do it. So the projectors from A2 are like this. Now the distances we have to take from A1. So one thing that we are doing over here, we are not measuring distances from the hinge only on one side, rather we are measuring the distance on both the sides, and it's okay because the distances are relative. So if you take the distances and keep applying them on the corresponding projector, that is how the distances will be applied, and that is how we can write the names of the points corresponding to the point on the profile. So for example, 3 and 4, here is the projector which is going to the frontal, to the S view, and from here corresponding to 3 and 4, that is how the projector is going. As per the distance from the hinge line, here in this case that's the hinge line, and we need the distance from the hinge line to 3 and to 4. So these distances we are taking from the A1, from the hinge line to 3 and 4, and that is how we are applying the distances. So by doing it, we get corresponding to all these points on the periphery of the circle, we get the points on the true view, and this is how the true view of the given surface will appear.